is Sunimo. I am a law student from University of Cambodia. I am working as a teacher assistant. Now, I'm about to tell you what I'm thinking about Black Lives Matter movement on panel discussion.
Hi, it's Renarat, 23 years old, and I am a student in College of Social Science of University of Cambodia. I'm one of speaker for today panel discussion.
Hey, I am Kim Chai Ratana. I am 19 years old. I study in College of Social and Science, major in International Relations at University of Cambodia. Currently, I work in one company as data input, and I am here today to express my opinion about Black Lives Matter in panel discussion.
Today, Makara is my full name, and I am 19. I am a law student from the University of Cambodia. Currently, I am working as a teacher of English. Today, I am indicating what I know about Black Lives Matter movement.
We are from Group 1.
As the news spreads across the world of Floyd nearly 9 minutes and a heavy-handed police respond to ensuing public rage, something different happened. Something extraordinary happened. In series, an artist painted portrait pictures of Floyd on a boomed-out building, an attempt to both U.S. movement and to catch the attention of Syrian regimes on the bombarded regularly. In Belgium, protesters demanded the removals of the statues of Leopold II, a statue of slave trader Edward Colston in Bristol found ways in the nearby river Avon by the hand of protesters in UK. It is difficult to pinpoint why the world has been so deeply moved by Floyd murder. I can't breathe was said by both Eric Garner and George Floyd before his death occurred. That's the question: why George Floyd made such a significant impact on the social media on Twitter? Almost 250,000 people on Twitter.
According to Opal Tomades, co-founders of Black Communities, said that they have their own solutions and they want the rights of protesters to be respected. They want divestment from the police and investment in Black communities. They are demanding immediate release of the communities. They want communities controlled. They want an end to this war against Black people.
So our first question in panel discussion is, why is the name of George Floyd movement significant for this movement?
Thank you for this question. George Floyd was particularly gruesome and obvious. Obviously, George Floyd is not the only African American who died in the police custody. George Floyd died being arrested for allegedly using counterfeit money to buy cigarettes. After the police interrogated George Floyd, police kept his knee on the George Floyd neck. Nearly 9 minutes, he repeated the word, "I can't breathe," again and again, and then he passed away. So all the action was quite from the people around that, and by the smartphone through the widespread, and the people around the world saw this video. The sense was so gruesome and unacceptable. And the George Floyd that made the people around the world, they simply could not stay at home anymore. And all the actions, it is seamless resolves with the large numbers of the protesters, white protesters, and the protesters from the annexes standing for the black activists. So this is show that the George Floyd is significant for this movement. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For me, I think that it's not only about George Floyd, because of George Floyd problem came during a pandemic and that protesters are unemployment. Yes, sometimes they get bored at home, they want to go out. Yes, because of this pandemic, make them stay at home. Yes, and make them don't have work, and they don't have enough money to support their family. So they are protest. Sometimes they don't like politics, and their government doesn't have ability to prevent this coronavirus. So they are protest at government to solve it. To get solve this problem.
Mekara, what do you think?
Well, George Floyd was a really good man, absolutely. No one wants to see a good man dies, right? He was a really good man in his communities, his neighbor claimed, and he's the father of 6-year-old daughter. Well, during his high school year, he also a basketball star, and he led the community of football for his high school to be a really famous high school in his community. Okay, and he rather said, "I am tired of seeing black men die." You know, African Americans people, they don't want to see. They are worrying about their children's future. Because right now there's a lot of African American dies during police custody. They would be worried. What about my children when I died? Would they be getting abuses from the police too? So I have to protect my children. I have to protect right now. I have to stand up for my voices and for my future generations' voices. Yes, that is what I think. By the way. Yes, one more thing, I think because of, George Floyd was not the only one who was dead because of police custody. There will be Tommy Rice, Michael Brown, and many more African American was dead because of police custody. So, but George Floyd was a really significant one. So people cannot stand no more. They have to come up together to stand up for their voices and for their future voices. Yes, that's all.
For me, I think that this protest appear more so diverse. As I can see, many protesters are not African American themselves. For example, in Washington, D.C., there are 10,000 of people are not blacks. And they also use a placard for that movement by remaining the right for George Floyd. Yes. And Americans think that George Floyd case is a worldwide case. But in 2014, Michael Brown and Eric Garner is also feel that it is a border problem. And this problem is not only in America, but all the country around the world also use a placard that say the sentence, "I can't breathe," in order to support the protester from Osaka, Japan, Istanbul, Turkey, Paris, and Amsterdam. Mr. Robot also said that it is uncomfortable that they say results on the conversation very existent, and it is they're afraid that when they say it out, they will offend someone. But now he can see that many people like white light over this, and it makes them feel like it is comfortable with the uncomfortable. Yes.
Why is the name of George Floyd significant for this movement? Well, no one really knows the actual problems. No one really knows how to answer these questions actually. But from our perspective, we think George Floyd as a representative. So what do we mean by representative? Well, George Floyd, because of George Floyd, is the last straw. George Floyd was not the only African American who was dead because of police custody. There's a lot more African Americans people were dead because of police custody. But George Floyd has come to the last one. And the representative we mean is like, for example, our Prime Minister Hun Sen, when he come to the international meeting, he is our representative, stand for Cambodian, for a whole countries of Cambodians. And either George Floyd is a representative for all people, all black peoples, and all the people who was abused by the police custody. So George Floyd is a representative. So the name of George Floyd is not only George Floyd, but because he is a representative for all of the people who get abused by the police custody.
The second question is, what rights are at stake concerning this movement? Anyone need to start with McGrath?
Okay, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which have 30 articles, from Article 3, the right to life, I would say, because everybody have the right to life, right? Yeah. Even the police, the suspect, or even a jail person, they have the right to life. Why do the police have to kill the man? And even as he is also a human, even though he is a suspect, you don't have to kill him, right? Because as the UDHR once says, you have the right to life. So police does not have the right to kill the suspect because he is either a human. And another article about Article 9, we have the freedoms from arbitrary detentions. The police does not, police cannot arrest anybody up to him because we live under the law, right? Police cannot, you are sit together and police come to arrest you because of this, because of that. No, we have our rights. So police cannot arrest us with arbitrary. So I would say Article 3 and Article 9 appeal to me the most when it comes to the human rights of this movement.
Yes. How about you? For me, I think about the Article 5, freedom from tortures. It means nobody have right to hurt us or torture us. Because the people have right and they did not get tortured even from the people or the police. Even the people they are in the prisons, they have right from the tortures too. Like about the George Floyd, he was in the suspect. And the police didn't have enough evidence about that he used the fake monies. Why the police can kill us? So it is also authorities and it's like the murders. So that's why I think all the peoples or the George Floyd have right to protect themselves from the tortures. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Mr. Rat, what do you think?
I would say in Article 1, Article 1 says that we are all born free and equal, dignity and human rights. Yes, as you know that in 1948, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, posted that about human rights. In Article 1, say that we are all born free and equal, dignity and human rights. Dignity is a foundation at all human rights.
From our perspective, panel discussions, the right at stake of this movement are, we think, the right to life, the right to free from discriminations, the right to get free from torture and anything else. So this right that peoples of the group of the Black Lives Movements they are asking for is to respect the life of other peoples. Even the black people have the right to. Even have black people, they also have the freedom. So even they are standing for their voices so that the peoples in the United States or in everywhere across the world does not have to be racist or discriminations. Imagine we are born as humans, and imagine if God not give us the skin. God has put all the way of our skins. So will we be able to see black or white in our meat? No, because it is just a meat, so we don't have any skin colors. The skin colors difference because we live in different areas which have different weather, so that why we have a different colors. So it is being human. It does not mean up to our colors. So that's why people have to stand up for their voices together, so that people around the world understand why we not have to be racist.
The third question is, what should be the remedy for the Black community? The third question and also the last question for today's panel discussion is, what should be the remedy for the Black community? And I would like to take this question. Yes, I think government should be a remedy for Black community. Due to government, we should take action over this problem. We cannot just sit down and stay silent when we see these kinds of news spread over the wide world, yes. And everyone can see it. So you don't have to stay silent. The government should take action and try to find a solution with other politicians in order to solve these problems. And we have to take a serious action in order to let this right or these new rules for people to follow and take it serious. Yes.
I am thinking that Democrat and Republic have to work together, don't argue, and to make appropriate law for Black community.
For me, I think about protesters. If they want to find the justice for George Floyd, I think they should find some place to demonstrations. And if they did like that, as we see, they are destroying many private or public properties. So it is not show. It is show about their anger is not the best solution. So the best solution, I think, they should go to some place and make requests for law to protect the Black communities, or what the law of they want to find justice for Floyd.
Okay, UN, I would say UN play a really important roles in these problems. Well, after the government and the parliament work together, so they could make a really important law, and then the protester would definitely not be a riot, does not destroy any public places like the park or the everything, the sources from the people, so that the government could work together to make the law. Or if the government does not have any solutions, UN welcome every government to work together with UN to cooperate. You can ask the UN what law, or this is appropriate or not, or what kind of law should I make, or the UN can give you advices. So UN work as a really advisor, or you can cooperate with the UN. So I think UN is really playing a really important role for this movement's problems. Okay.
The last questions of our final discussions is the solution, the remedies for the Black communities that we think in our panel discussions. We might think that first one is up to the people themselves, up to the protesters themselves, the ways they choose to protest and the way they choose to show up their voice. You don't have to just destroying things or stealing things to just showing your ideas, right? I think protesters better using the non-violence, as Martin Luther King has did a really successful for this movement. I think people should use the non-violence movement, which to show up their voices to the government, so that the government have the time to consider to making the law for the protecting Black peoples, or to make the law about discriminations. When a man is getting angry and we are just hit him in the face one more time, he might even get angrier, right? Even more furious, or sometimes he can fight you back. either the government. When the government is in a really so much pressure already by running the countries, and we are just protesters, we are destroying the public matters, destroying other properties, we are rioting. So this is kind of, you are fighting a man who's getting so much pressure already by running the country. So I think the protesters better using the non-violence so that the government could consider making a really appropriate law. And after that, the government and the parliament should work together to make an appropriate law. Or if they cannot think of any appropriate law or a suitable law for communities, I think the governments and the parliaments of the United States could, consider getting some advices from the other countries, from the international countries, especially the United Nations. They can cooperate with the United Nations. They can ask advice from the United Nations of which rights and which laws should they make to, making a suitable or appropriate law for the communities. So this is our opinions about the remedies for the communities. First one is the communities themselves, and the protesters themselves, and the second one is about the parliaments and governments, and the last one is about the United Nations and the international countries.
To conclude, George Floyd significant this movement because he is a good person and his death is unfair. That's why there are a lot of people to make these demonstrations around the world.
George Brothers has mentioned that he was so tired of seeing black men die. So this sentence means that African Americans, they are afraid that their future generations, their children might get abuses more than that. So they have a chance to stand up right now and right here in these years, even though there's a coronavirus pandemic, but they don't afraid about coronavirus pandemic. They are afraid about their younger future first, their future generations. So it is a really good time to join together at Black Lives Moment to stand up for their voices, for their younger generations. Another noted Floyd's anguish for his mama the last minute before he died. It is a yell for help from a mom that isn't there, said one follower. Now a mom from across the world heard it and wanted to yank that monster off him.